On the contrary, it allows for a robust theology, one that is filled with the sort of awe that not only regards God as unimaginably wondrous, but also awakens in us the same desire Moses had to see him as he is. Theological understanding should not become a substitute for faith. Studied rightly, theology should lead us to awe and wonder. To that end, my friend Jen Pollock Michel has given us a gift. It seems to me that the church has a renewed appetite for wonder, mystery, paradox, and awe, so Surprise by Paradox comes at an important time. As a pastor, I've seen the danger that comes with believing God can be solved like an equation. When we treat him like a system of theological points rather than the glorious creator of heaven and earth, we end up bending what we think about him to fit the structure we think contains him. The problem with this is that my 20-year-old understanding of God doesn't fit into the box the God I know now in my 40s requires. And I have to believe that if I reach my 70s, my view of him will be different in many ways from what it is today. I am not talking about abandoning orthodoxy or venturing away from the faith, God forbid. I am talking about venturing deeper in. Today, my understanding of God is informed by suffering, vocational challenges, parental struggles, and a deeper understanding of my own sin that were not in play in my 20s. My questions about God increase in number not because I know less, but because I know more. And as my questions increase, so does my faith, which Scripture esteems as a higher prize than certainty. See 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13. Jen describes Surprise by Paradox as a book about faith in its lived-in condition, as it abides complexity rather than resist it. Surely abiding complexity rather than resisting it is a spiritual discipline. This book is a biblically grounded, theologically sound guide for honing that skill. I am so glad she wrote it and that you are reading it. Our culture races to the logical fallacy that says if something doesn't make sense to me, it does not make sense at all. What a tragically small view of the world folded into an even more tragically large view of ourselves. We were made to wonder, to form questions in our hearts that no other human being can answer, questions that belong to a world that transcends what we can comprehend. These questions do not drive us away from God. They draw us near. Jesus said the seed sprouts and grows, and we know not how. In these pages, Jen Pollock Michel reminds us that though we know not how, the seeds still do sprout and grow. This is God's work. To wonder about such things is to worship. To God be the glory. Introduction, a little bit of wondering. Macy was good at cleaning my house. She was also good at proselytizing. She would search articles from the Jehovah's Witness website, then leave her phone on my desk as I worked on drafts of this book. Read this, she would insist, wagging her finger before leaving to strip beds. Macy, a housekeeper I'd hired from a Craigslist ad, had been studying 6 years to be baptized as a Jehovah's Witness, a movement that began with a small group of Bible students living near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at the end of the 19th century when they undertook a systematic analysis of the Bible. Comparing the doctrines taught by evangelical churches with the teachings of Scripture, they purportedly found great incongruity. They began publishing their learning in books, newspapers, and the journal that is now called The Watchtower, announcing Jehovah's Kingdom. It was these systematic teachings of the Jehovah's Witnesses that Macy liked to share with me in long stretches of the afternoon. "I love Jehovah," she would exclaim as my thoughts drifted impatiently to the work that both of us were neglecting. I couldn't help believing her. But one afternoon burned with unusual intensity, even if Macy was hard of hearing and our communication halting. We scribbled furiously on Post-it notes. We opened heavy tomes from my bookshelves. We parsed out meanings of Hebrew and Greek words. Yet on this afternoon and every other, theology was a suburban cul-de-sac to circle endlessly. We never managed to get anywhere. In these afternoon conversations, Macy dogged me with difficult questions, and to be honest, despite having the resume I do, I was short on answers.